While teachers are struggling right now to try to teach remotely, this guy has been doing it for years, but in a different capacity. Let's bring in Justin Odisho. He is a YouTube video creator. How does one get over 800,000 subscribers? You must be a really good teacher.
Thank you. Hi, Ronnie and Tyler. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I guess I sort of became a teacher unknowingly, just kind of as a hobby. I started a YouTube channel in 2011 sharing educational content around my hobbies of photo and video editing, softwares like Photoshop and whatnot. And I mean, practice makes perfect. So over making hundreds and hundreds of brief educational videos, posting them on YouTube, getting feedback. There's tons of times where people will tell me, your audio sounds horrible, or, you need to get to the point, hurry up, you talk too much. You kind of learn what the audience wants to hear. And, I don't know if I'd be the best teacher in a classroom setting, but I definitely know how to make a short educational video and put it out there in a concise way.
And how did this start? Do you actually do this as a career?
Yeah, so what I do is my full-time business since about 2017, and it is an LLC and everything. And it started, like I said, as a hobby when I was a teenager. I used to just my older brother had downloaded some of these video and photo editing softwares like After Effects and Photoshop, and I used to play around with them as a child of the internet. You'd be hanging out online all day and making graphics and videos and whatnot. So I developed the skills, and then YouTube came around in about 2006, 7, and I would be posting in 2008 and 9. But, the things that I would be posting weren't really focused. They had copyrighted music. I'm sure you know all the technical stuff about that. And so I decided in 2011, I really enjoyed sharing videos just for fun. I didn't have any business ideas, but I needed something safer, family friendly, whatever if you want to call it, that I could just post and not worry about rules and whatnot. So I thought educational Photoshop stuff is something I can do and seems to have an audience. And yeah, now I've lost track of, it's such a long story, I've lost track of the original question.
Justin Odisho with us. He is a YouTube video creator with over 800,000 subscribers on YouTube, joining us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. And Justin, today so many more people are dabbling in content creation, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be streaming on a number of platforms, or just creating their own videos as a side business as well. What, for people that are interested in that and maybe now have the time to start making that move, or start pursuing that either hobby or career, whatever the case may be for them, what are the first steps that you suggest as someone that has gone down that road for people to make those first steps?
Yeah, I think you touched on a good point about how everything is now becoming, especially now with the lockdowns and COVID and whatnot, everything is accelerated. We're even doing this on Zoom. So I always like to think of it as video is kind of just another language. It's one of the most popular languages, one of the most universal languages. And so it would always be beneficial for you to be more fluent in communicating in this language, whether that's just simple things like, knowing how to use a webcam in Zoom, or nowadays everyone's phone is so capable. You can truly shoot and upload and share videos to the world straight from your phone without much technical prowess at all. So just those basic things, I guess, for the totally uninitiated crowd. And then if you want to get even more kind of creative with it and into it, you can get one of these popular video editing programs at like Premiere Pro or Final Cut, or even iMovie, whatever you have. And you can just learning the basics of how to combine audio and video and maybe a couple text graphics and cut clips together really unlocks a lot of possibilities, I think. And I compare it to riding a bike. Once you learn how to ride a bike, you kind of never really lose that skill, whether even though the programs might change. You just kind of got to learn the software and the programs again.
This is amazing to me that you started this when you were a kid, because I am constantly trying to learn Adobe, and I do the little online tutorials. And for me, if I don't do it all the time, then I forget the things that I learned. I even took a class through the local community college, and every time I now go back on, I'm like, oh, how do you do that? There are so many different steps. So for someone like you to take this as just a hobby and turn it into really a very popular YouTube channel, are you able to make money off of your YouTube channel? And have you seen the number of people tuning in to try to learn from you increase, because now businesses and people are having to make their own videos?
Yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of people are, it is such a new thing, and it hasn't always been this way. When I started, you weren't able to technically make money and have ads and whatnot. So what I've done, I'm not the most popular channel. I'm not like a famous vlogger or whatnot. What I've done is I've created a large catalog of videos that, like you said, address every problem. Like if you want to Google how to export, how to save, how to do this, that, and that in all these popular programs, one of my videos might come up. So I am, just like any other business, I'm solving a problem for a potential customer. And however, the way that you get paid is much more difficult than, traditional jobs that I've had. In this, I've had to kind of squeeze the juice as much as I can to make it a good business. So, your main your main value is the traffic that's coming in. So, all the views that you're getting, all the potential people watching all your content. And the way that you get paid on YouTube, you can turn on ads. So, whenever you watch a YouTube video, sometimes you'll see the ad. That's a good fraction of income for many YouTubers. You get a certain amount of dollars per 1,000 views. It depends on the topic that you talk about. But then I also sell products on my website. I sell like digital products to help people save time in editing, plugins, like creative assets. So that makes up another good chunk of my business. And then between that, I also earn some commissions and work with different brands. It's definitely not something everyone can do, because this has been years in the making, and I am one of the larger channels around this topic. So I am able to get those commissions and whatnot. But there's different topics, and it all, if you use good business practices, it all helps. And then the second part of your question, if things have become more popular during this whole lockdown, it's kind of been, there's been pluses and negatives. I have, when everyone was locked inside, I can see my analytics, and definitely some of my videos were getting more views during lockdown, especially the ones that had to do with stuff like how to split the screens and do, I'm guessing, interview type of stuff. People were looking up how to do this, and I saw a spike. However, people were also spending less discretionary income on the things on my website are not really essential goods. They're not food or water or clothing. It's more like creative plugins and assets. So I guess if people aren't getting video jobs in the real world, because my customers would be like camera people making videos for other clients, it all kind of trickles down. But now things have kind of smoothed out now, and I hope it can keep it going through this. If I can make it through this rough patch, I feel like then that'll be really good for a young business like myself.
Oh, you're like such an example for young people to say, hey, if you follow a passion, you started it just because it was a hobby and it was an interest to you, and then it grew into this business. And knowing that, I would think, though, I always look at editing kind of like a home improvement job. You always think it's going to take so much less time than what it actually does. Do you have anyone that maybe goes onto your YouTube page to think that they can learn a skill, and then they just get frustrated and give up, and then, contact you and say, hey, can you just edit this for me? Because one of the great things about the line of work that you're in is you can do it remotely.
Yeah, that is that is one great thing that I didn't mention about the lockdown is I haven't seen my ability to work get affected as much as I've seen relatives, and you know, my own brother had to find a different job. So I've been lucky in that way. But yeah, I get all type of comments on my channel. A lot of good comments, like people saying, "Wow, you're like it's hard for me to learn with anyone else, but you explained it in a way where I could create the final product." So I'm happy about that. But I definitely, there's people that they say I'm still not getting it or whatnot, and I do get emails saying, "Hey, you know, I just don't know how to do After Effects at all. But if you'd like, or if you know anyone who would want to do this job," that just kind of speaks to the power of networking through the internet. Even if I wasn't making as many views or selling as much stuff on my own website, it could still be a viable career path by sharing and letting people know that you're capable of doing certain tasks. You could get work coming in. It's a great way of outreach that you wouldn't normally be able to. One of the funniest comments one of the best comments I've gotten, I think, lately was it was interesting. It was a comment that said, I'm like a 78-year-old or something grandmother, but I'm able to edit and learn with this video that she posted. So thanks, Justin. Definitely not my typical demographic, but that was interesting.
Justin Odisho with us. He is a YouTube video creator joining us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. Justin, just a few more minutes with you before we have to say goodbye today. Is there anything else that would be important for our audience to know about you, about your content, maybe things that are coming down the pike, or how they can get started in video editing, content creation, graphic design, whatever the case may be, that we haven't touched on already on today's program?
Yeah, I would just reiterate the point that a lot of people like to complicate things and think, oh, I got to get this right gear and I got to get this thing, and make it a lot harder than it is. Truly, for one, I don't want to sell everyone the dream that go on YouTube and you're gonna make a bunch of money and be famous. That's definitely not how it is. I consider myself blessed and lucky and gifted in some way to have been able to figure this out over the past 10 years. But nowadays we all have our phones, we all have internet somewhere, whether you're here or at the local cafe. We all have access to truly the whole world of people, and you don't have to complicate it. You can simply use what you have, whether it's just your phone camera, which is high definition, it's great. And if you do have some sort of hobby or message or something you want to experiment with, you don't have to. There's truly not as many limits on you today in 2020 as there was, back when the internet couldn't even stream video capably. So, and yeah, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm very easy to reach. JustinOdisho.com. You can find all my links, or shoot me an email, or just on social media. So if I can help you, that's personally something I enjoy doing, is helping as many people as possible. Now that I'm able to do that, I don't take it for granted. So.
Well, I think it's great. Again, give out your YouTube channel. And is it important for people to actually subscribe to your channel? What's the difference between that or just going on and clicking and watching one of your videos?
That's a good question, yeah. So, I mean, Justin Odisho is where you can find me everywhere. JUSTINODISHO. If you just search that, you'll find me on all the social medias. And, funny enough, the subscriber metric, I feel like YouTube is kind of moving away from that. It's almost like it's more of a superficial number nowadays, because the way that their algorithm recommends things. It's more so on if your videos are getting sent to the different recommendations and pages. It is always nice to see, like, hey, you reached a certain milestone, and I am trying to reach that 1 million milestone just as kind of like a goal. But really what's most important for me to keep this going as a sustainable business is, getting that viewership in every month. And that just means continuing to make new videos and having a nice catalog of content and new ideas. So the subscriber metric is important, and people use it as like a bookmark for my channel. But viewership is definitely more important.
Well, it's been great having you on the show here with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. We hope you get a few more viewers that click on and learn from you as well, because you definitely are offering a great service that so many of us can learn from. So thank you so much, but also thank you for the conversation. And maybe you'll be an inspiration to other people wanting to go out and start their own YouTube page.